So I square C start function is used to initiate start condition on the bus. I square C repeated start also does same thing, but there is small difference at the end of the cycle. Some slave devices require repeated start whenever there are repeated start and write operations. I2C stop function is used to initiate stop condition on the I square C bus, and there you need to set Pn bit equal to 1. And there is I square C write function, it is used to write data to the I square C bus, and that data must be returned to the SSP buffer register. So before that, we must check with the help of I square C wait function whether I square C module is busy in transmitting or receiving previous data. So once it is free, we can write data to the SSP buffer register, and that data will be simultaneously loaded in SSP SR register, and then that data is serially shifted out on the SDA pin. Using I2C read function, we read data serially on I square C bus from the slave device, and to initiate the read cycle, RC EN bit of SSP contour register must be set equal to 1, and after that we must read data received in SSP buffer register in variable temp. This acknowledgement bit in SSP contour register is used to give acknowledgement to the slave device. So this bit, ACK enable bit, is related to the acknowledgement from master to slave device. So in FDC 1004, if I show you the timing diagram, here acknowledgement is given by slave device, slave device, slave device, but here when master read data from the slave device, acknowledgement is given by master. So whether you want to give acknowledgement to slave device or not, that is decided by this ACK enable bit in SSP contour register. That is the purpose. Delay US subroutine is used in adding delay in I square C functions. Then other code is similar to our previous code written for LCD interfacing. Next is oscillator control register is loaded with 0xEF to set on-chip oscillator for 4 MHz. Then ADCON 1 register is loaded with 0x0F so that all 13 channels are digital input channels, because there are 13 channels which are multiplex for analog operation as well, and we want digital input output functionality. LCD display data pins are connected to port D, so port D must be output port, and that is done through TRISC-D register. So TRISC-D is loaded with 0x00. Next is TRISC-C. Some port pins on port C are connected to control pins of LCD display. So initially I have cleared all bits of TRISC-C register, but later on what I am doing is this RC3 pin and RC4 pin, they are made input. In fact, here port is not input because clock is shifted serially. This port C is output port actually, but when TRISC-C bit is written in the code, it is set equal to 1. So when it is 1, it becomes input, but in fact port is output. So you may have your confusion. Let me clear your confusion. This port pin is multiplex for clock as well as port C operation. So RC, when it is configured as RC3, it becomes general purpose input output pin. And when we use this port pin for transmitting clock signal serially out, then data must go out. Now let me go back to IO port pin of the microcontroller. This is block diagram of IO port pin. Now what we want to do is, look at here, IO port pin is shown. When we write logic 1 to trace latch, that is logic 1 is here. When trace bit is 1, at the output of the trace latch we get logic 1. When we have logic 1 here, this buffer gets disconnected. And that's what we want, because same pin is also connected to clock pin of the I2C module. And when we do not write logic 1 to the trace latch, what happens is that the output on this data latch, it will be applied on IO pin, and we don't want that. See, for example, if this data latch contains logic 1, then permanently there will be logic 1 on IO pin. If data latch contains logic 0, permanently IO pin will have logic 0. So we don't want data of the data latch on IO pin. What we want is, we want clock signal on IO pin. So therefore, to disconnect this data latch from the IO pin, we must write RC3 related to this trace register. It must be this must be equal to 1. So this ensures that your TC bit related to RC3 pin becomes 1. So when it becomes 1, this data latch get disconnected from the IO pin, and this IO pin is now only get connected to the I2C hardware module. I hope all of you understood this purpose. So for clock signal, ultimately your IO pin remains output, and for data pin, direction is manipulated by microcontroller. It can be input or output. During write operation it is output, and during read operation it automatically becomes input. So both of your bits must be 1. And why to make it 1? Because we want to disconnect the data latch of port from the IO pin. Otherwise, output of data latch will be permanently on the IO pin, and communication is not possible. Same thing is required for UART communication, that we'll discuss subsequently. So in case of UART module also, corresponding trace bits must be 1. So these two instructions are really important. If you don't do it, your protocol will not work. Purpose of making this bit 1 is to disconnect data latch on the port. This data latch we want to disconnect, and that is done by making corresponding trace bit equal to 1. So when this bit is 1, this buffer gets disabled, and this data latch gets disconnected from the IO pin. Here I2C hardware is not shown. So here, when we disconnect that, only I2C hardware becomes active and it gets connected to the corresponding pin. So we want to connect this I2C hardware to both of these pins. So whenever we enable, this gets connected, and when we do not write logic 1 to trace bits, then output of both data latch of the port as well as I2C module appear on the line. So protocol will not work. So that is the purpose of setting this bit to 1. Next is, I'm calling LCD initialization function, then LCD string, I'm putting message ATC welcomes you. Now there are two variables I have created here, XD1, XD2, and it is loaded with 0x10, 0xe0. It is related to offset removing of FDC 1004. Let me quickly discuss this. Why I have taken 0x10 and 0xe0. The coaxial capacitor which I constructed, it we must remove offset capacitance. And what is offset capacitance? Many time I discuss. So this is bit format of different registers. So one such register is measurement configuration register, and this measurement configuration register, its pointer address for first channel is 0x08. For first channel, address is 0x08. Let us understand how to configure measurement on channel 1 of FDC 1004, and which number I have selected. So depending upon capacitive sensor that you construct, this number will be different. It will not be same. Now what we want to do is we want to select channel 1. So for selection of channel 1, bit number 15, 14 and 13, 3 bits must be 000. Look at here, for channel 1, bits must be 000, 3 bits are used. Then next 3 bits, 12 to 10 bits, bit number 12, 11 and 10. I am using CapDAC module. CapDAC module, when it is enabled, we can remove offset up to 100 picofarad. So as I want CapDAC module, this next 3 bits must be 100. I have written here. First 3 bits 000, next 3 bits 100. All 16 bits in binary format, they are written here. Then next is offset capacitance. How much offset capacitance you want to remove? For that 5 bits are given. So when these 5 bits are 000, we remove offset capacitance up to 0 picofarad. When all bits are 1, all 5 bits are 1, we can remove offset capacitance up to 96.87 picofarad. I have taken intermediate number. So according to my requirement, I have selected this number, because when you remove too much offset capacitance, your result will be something else. Through one of the video, I am going to demonstrate it. And last bits are reserved. They can have any value. So when you put all these bit combinations like 0, 0, 1, 1, all these bit combination, if you put it here, and if you group 4 bits at a time, you will get hexadecimal number. So when you group first 4 bits, it becomes hexadecimal 1. When you group next 4 bits, you will get hexadecimal 0. When you group next 4 bits, you will get hexadecimal E. When you group last 4 bits, you will get hexadecimal 0. So this 0x10E0, I must load into the measurement configuration register 1. And what is its address? Pointer address is 0x08. So in the program, I have taken this number here, 0x10, 0xe0. That is the purpose of this XD1 and XD2 variable. Now let us start actual I2C bus protocol. So first function we must call is I2C initialization, and it must be called only once. In the rest of the program, we need not call it again and again. And argument must be baud rate. So we are going with 100 kilohertz baud rate. So that's why this number is 1 lakh. Next is I2C start. So to initiate start condition on I2C bus, we must call this I2C start function. And we need not pass any parameter because argument is wide. So this I2C start function I already discussed here. All these functions I already discussed. I2C wait, I2C start, I2C repeated start, I2C stop, I2C write, I2C read. I will just call these functions. I2C start. Now I2C write. So to initiate, I am going to discuss write frame. And with the write frame, what we'll do is we'll write data to the config measurement 1 register, this register, and its pointer address is 0x08. So what I want to do is I want to select this register, config measurement 1 register, so that we can perform other operations with respect to channel 1. And what is the pointer address here? Pointer address is 0x08. So our pointer must be loaded with 0x08 first, and then we can write data to the config measurement 1 register. And config measurement 1 register is 16 bit. So we must perform 2 write operations for config measurement 1 register. 1 write operation for 0x08 and 1 write operation for transmitting address. So in my code, what I am doing, I am calling I2C write function, and what is my argument here? 0xA0. Why this 0xA0? Because we are transmitting 7-bit slave address. Slave address is already discussed. FDC 1004 slave address is given in this data sheet. First 7 bits are 10, 10, 10, 000, 7 bits, and last bit is indication of R or read operation, that is read or write operation. So as we are performing write operation, address plus last bit total becomes A0 in hexadecimal. So we are transmitting 7-bit slave address plus write in next cycle. Comment is written. So we are performing write in next cycle. After that, once again write I2C write. But what is argument now? 0x08. So next write operation is with respect to pointer in FDC 1004. So we are loading pointer with 0x08. Next write operation is with regard to pointer. In this cycle also you will see. In this timing diagram, next byte is returned to the pointer register. Let me zoom in. Next byte is returned to pointer register. First byte is serial address plus a read write bit. So we must load now pointer with 0x08 so that we can point to the config measurement when register. To access any register in FDC 1004, you must load pointer with proper value. So we are loading pointer with 0x08 so that it points to this config measurement 1 register. So that is done in this function. Next, now you write 16-bit data. You cannot write 16-bit data at a time. So you need to divide 16-bit data into 2 bytes. So you must first of all transmit MSB byte. Our MSB byte is in variable XD1. Just now I explained. XD1 contains 0x10, XD2 contains 0xe0. Now write data to the config measurement 1 register, MSB part. It is pointed by this pointer. And then write LSB byte. So 2 bytes are written. After completion of write frame, call this I2C stop function. So very simple code. Just call these functions in proper sequence. I2C start, then send address of the slave device along with read write bit, then write to the pointer register, and then write actual registers pointed by pointer, and then end the I2C write frame. Next, what we are doing is we are doing configuration. That is, there is one more register. This register is really important. FDC configuration register. This register, FDC configuration register. And what is its pointer address? 0x0C. Its third column already discussed. Reset value is given in the third column here. So FDC config register. Let us quickly discuss this register. This is the FDC config register. And what is its pointer address? 0x0C. I am loading this config register with hexadecimal value 0x0580. Now, why should we load this register with this value? Let us understand. What is the first bit in this configuration register? First bit is RST. RST stands for reset. When this bit is 0, it is a normal operation. And through I2C write operation, if you write this bit 1, then FDC 1004 will reset automatically. So through this bit, we can perform software reset operation. So with this bit, it is possible to do software reset of FDC 1004. Next 3 bits are reserved. They are not used. So I have written them 000. Then next 2 bits, bit number 11 and 10, they are used for deciding sample rate. I already told you, capacitance on input channel is converted into 24-bit result. So how many results you want in every second, that is decided with these 2 bits. So I have configured for 100 samples per second. So bits are 01 for 100 samples per second, 10 for 200 samples per second, 11 means 400 samples per second. I have taken here 01. Next bit is reserved. Bit number 8. When this bit is 0, repeat is disabled. And when this bit is 1, we get repeated measurements. So I have set this bit to 1 so that we get repeated measurements. Next bit. Next bit is related to channel 1. So when this bit is 0, when bit 7 is 0, measurement are disabled on channel 1. Measurements are not performed. And when this bit is 1, measurement on channel 1 is enabled. we want measurement on channel 1, therefore this bit must be 1, and we are not performing measurement on other channels, so I have set other bit 0. So it is up to you. If you are using all 4 channels, then you must select, you must enable measurements on remaining 3 channels. Other bits are whether measurement of a given channel is complete or incomplete. So these bits you must read. You cannot write it, because this bit is indication of whether measurement 1 is complete or not. If this bit is 1, measurement is completed. If bit is 0, that means measurement is under progress. So I have not accessed this bit in my program. I assume that my measurement is complete. However, I recommend to add this condition in your code. So purposely I have not added this condition. It is left to you. Code is also working without checking this condition. So last 4 bits are related to whether measurement is under progress or completed. So we can check with the help of these bits. So this register we can read or write. Both operations are possible. So with if these bit combinations, if you write in binary format here, binary format starting MSB bit from this side. So when these binary bits, if you convert into hexadecimal digits, this code word becomes 0x0580. So this configuration register at address 0x0C must be loaded with 0x0580 for our application. So you will see here now, next I am writing to this register. So our next frame is also I2C write, and one instruction is commented here, I2C repeated start. So whether you go with I2C repeated start or I2C start, you get same result. Then I2C write, I am initiating next write frame. I am transmitting slave address, and next cycle operation is write operation. So this argument is 0x A0. Then I am loading pointer with 0x0C. Why I am loading this pointer with 0x0C? Because this capacitor, this register is at location 0x0C. So we must load pointer with 0x0C so that next write operations are on this register. And after that, I am writing this data, the data which I discuss here, 0x0580. So first of all, write MSB byte 05 and then write LSB byte 80. So write 0x05 first to that register and then write LSB byte 0x80. And after that, end I2C write frame. So what we have done? We have written data to the register which is pointed by 0x08, and next we have written register which is pointed by 0x0C value. Then I am setting up here never ending while loop. LCD is initialized. Inside the never ending while loop, I am reading data once in a 2 second from FDC 1004, and then data I am displaying on the LCD display. So again I2C start. What I am doing here? I2C write. Already configuration is done. You need not configure again and again. These configuration values are permanently saved in FDC 1004 as long as power is available. However, if you reset it, then that value is lost. If you remove the power, values will be lost. So what we are doing again? We are transmitting 7-bit slave address, indicating that next operation is write operation. Now what I am doing is, I am loading pointer with 0x00. Now why to load it with 0x00? If you look at the register table of the FDC 1004, you will find that result of conversion of first channel is saved in these 4 registers. 2 registers. For each channel, 2 registers are used. What is our conversion result? Conversion result is 24 bit. However, MES1 MSB register is 16 bit, and MES1 LSB register is also 16 bit. Altogether, result is saved in 2 registers. However, last 8 bits of MES1 LSB registers are not used for saving the result. Altogether, these 2 registers are 32 bit. Our result is 24 bit. So last 8 bits of MES1 LSB registers are not used for saving the data. So let me show it here quickly. I have mentioned here. So our 24-bit result is saved in two registers, and two registers are 32-bit together. So in measurement 1 LSB register, let me point out here. Our what is first register? Measurement 1 MSB. So first 16 bits are saved in this register. Upper 16 bits of result are saved in MAS1 MSB. Then lower 8 bits of result are saved in first 8 positions of MAS1 LSB register, and last 8 bits are unimplemented. So even if you read it, they are read as 00. So we should not read last 8 bits. So what I am doing is I am initially loading pointer with 0x00 so that it points to this first register. First register is shown here, that is MAS1 MSB. And then we must read result saved in this register. So with I2C write, second I2C write, what we are doing, we are writing to the pointer, and pointer we are loading with 0x00 value. After loading pointer, we must read data from this register. Now pointer is pointing to the measurement 1 MSB register. Now what I am doing is, once again now I am initiating a new read operation. What I am doing is 0xA1. Look at here, earlier it was 0xA0. That means in the next cycle there is write operation. Now here 0xA1 implies that after transmitting 7-bit slave address along with read bit equal to 1, it indicates that in the next cycle there is read operation. Read in next cycle. So now it is 0xA1, address is transmitted. Slave device, all slave devices will receive it. The slave device which finds the match, in the next cycle it will start responding back to the master. Now I am calling I2C read function. So when we call this function, read operation gets started on the I2C bus. So slave device will shift out the serially data on the data pin on I2C bus. This data is received in data variable. Received data is stored in this data variable, and this data variable is long type of variable. It is already created here. Data variable is long type. Our result is 24-bit. So we must save result in long type of variable. So first 8 bits of the result are saved in data variable I2C read. 8 MSB bits of MAS1 MSB registers are read and they are saved in data variable. Comment is written here. Read 8 MSB bits of MAS1 MSB register. This MAS1 MSB register is 16-bit wide. So we must read this register twice. After that, what I am doing is, our register is coming in 8 bits. So we must combine these 3 bytes together to get 24-bit result. So we need to do left shift operation. Remember, on the right hand side we get 8-bit data, and this data register is 24-bit wide. So whenever we assign 8-bit data to this register, what happens is here, data register has total 24 bits. After first read operation, this data variable will have initial 8 bits, 16 bits, 000. Initial 4, 8, 12, 16. And actually, in last positions, there will be data obtained from I2C read operation. So data obtained from I2C read operation first time will be there in the last positions, last eight positions of data variable. And what we have received is MSB data. So therefore, we must shift this data towards left hand side so that it must be at appropriate position. Now we are shifting by 8 positions. Next, what we are doing is we are performing 2 operations simultaneously here. This vertical bar before equality sign indicates that bitwise logical operation. So what we are doing is we are doing simultaneously here bitwise logical operation. And let me write it here. So we have shifted this data. This data is now in this position. After shifting operation, I will write here MSB first part. So after 8-bit shifting operation, what will happen is, here we'll have 8 zeros at the end, and our MSB 1 part will be here, and again we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. We have shifted 8 times. So total bits are 24 here. After shifting by 8 positions, our received first byte is here in this position. Now we are performing logical ANDing with new byte being received. So after receiving the new byte, 8 bits, those 8 bits will be odd with data variable. So on the right hand side we have 8-bit data, and on the left hand side we have 24-bit data. So how is this logical ORing operation done? It is done with respect to last 8 positions. So new byte will be ultimately saved in this position with logical ORing operation. So let me write here MSB second part. So simultaneously we have received and done logical ORing operations, and we have saved our result in data variable. After that we must again shift it by 8 positions. So after shifting by 8 positions, what will happen now? We'll have here MSB 1 part here, MSB second byte part here. This is 8-bit. This is 8-bit. And in the last positions, we'll have 8 zeros. Now, remaining 8 bits will fix here. Our result is how many bytes? 3 byte. That is 24-bit. Now I am ending here I2C read frame. What is the purpose of ending read frame? The reason is we have read data from MES1 MSB. 2 bytes we have read from this register, and our pointing is pointing to this register only. Now we want to read data from this second register. Our second register is MES1 LSB. We must now read data from this register. So our pointer must be loaded with 0x01. So same operation we need to repeat here now. I2C start, then write slave address. Now next byte is returned to pointer register. Now pointer is loaded with 0x01. And then you start reading operation. But before that, to initiate read operation, once again you must write 7-bit slave address indicating that next byte is next operation is read operation. Then what we need to do is receive this data. Now your pointer is pointing to which register? MES1 LSB register. Your 24-bit result is in these 2 registers. So we must receive now MSB byte of MES1 LSB register. So that is read and logically ANDed. So when we do this logical ANDing here, then MSB of MES1 measurement register, MES1 measurement register will be placed here. So now we have total 24 bits in data variable. And one more read operation we must do, because whenever we read data from FDC, we must perform 2 read operation because all registers are 16-bit. So another read operation is done and that data is ignored. I am writing that data in some dummy variable. So data received in dummy variable will not be used because last 8 bits of second register does not contain our result. So it must be ignored. And after that, initiate I2C stop condition. Now what I am doing next is, the data is received in this data variable and it contains total 24 bits. In 24 bits, there are 8 digits. So if you convert 24-bit binary result into decimal number, there will be 8 digits, 8 decimal digits. So those 8 decimal digits will separate out with the help of modular division. So in ADC program, I already discussed modular division. So with the help of this modular division, I have separated out 8 digits like D0, D1, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7. So conventional division and modular division operation is done here to separate out the decimal digits. After that, I am displaying those decimal digit on the LCD display. What is the command? LCD display is cleared first, small delay is added, then cursor is placed at first position of first row in LCD display. After that, our decimal digits are on decimal scale. Their value is 0 to 9. And I already told you, when we write data to the LCD display, it must be converted into ASCII format. So just add 0x30 in each decimal digit. Those digits will get converted into ASCII numbers. So same operation is done, simultaneous operation is done, ASCII conversion as well as data passing to the LCD data function. As I am displaying each digit separately, I am not calling LCD string, I am calling LCD data function. So MSB digit is displayed first, D7, D6, D5, D4, D3, D2, D1, D0. And then delay MS with argument 1000. When argument is 1000 here, there is delay of 2 seconds. So after every 2 seconds, all these functions are repeated. All these operations are repeated. And on the LCD display, data read from FDC 1004 is displayed. So let me quickly play video so that you can understand how interfacing is done and how data looks like. There are 2 short videos prepared for this purpose. In this video, I will demonstrate use of FDC 1004 IC for this video measurement of diesel level in this container. We'll assume that this container is tank, fuel tank. We have already constructed coaxial capacitor, and this FDC module we have mounted on top of this coaxial capacitor, and we have taken here support of acrylic sheet. Total 5 wires are there. One wire is for ground, second wire is for 5 volt, third wire is for 3.3 volt, fourth wire is for serial clock in I2C bus, and fifth wire is for serial data in I2C bus. So this total 5 wires are connected to development board. Now another important point is, coaxial capacitor has 2 wires. One is here, central conductor is connected to input channel of FDC 1004 IC. This is input channel. And another wire is connected to outer conductor of coaxial capacitor, that is ground. So in this green terminal block, there are 2 wires. One is connected to input channel of FDC 1004, channel number 1, and this yellow wire is connected to ground. This is other side of the peak development board. This orange wire is connected to 3.3 volt. We have here serial data line. This green wire is connected to serial data in I2C bus. Yellow wire is connected to serial clock in I2C bus. This is 5 volt. 5 volt line is used for pull-up resistor, and this violet wire is connected to ground. Now in the absence of diesel in this tank, we get these numbers on the LCD display. FDC 1004 IC gives us 24-bit result proportional to capacitance on the channel. This 24-bit result is converted into decimal number. Total 8 digits are there. Those 8 digits are displayed on first row. Same result is divided by 10,000, and that is displayed on second row. On first row, you will see direct 24-bit result in decimal, and on second row, same result is displayed after dividing that number by 10,000. Now what we will do is, we will use these numbers for calibration purpose. After dividing by 10,000, we see here this number is fluctuating. It is around 140, 139, 142, something like that. So there is small change in stray capacitance, and because of that we get here fluctuations. To minimize this fluctuation, what we can do is, we can do averaging. In the current program, averaging is not done in order to demonstrate these fluctuations. So by taking reading maybe for 15 times or 20 times, we can do averaging. So when we do averaging, this fluctuation will get reduced. Now what we will do is, we will note down these readings. So what I have done is, I have made one observation table. Percentage level in this tank and reading. We'll make use of readings on the second row. So second row you will see there is fluctuation. So I have taken here average value. Let's say I am taking average value equal to 144. Now we'll fill this tank with diesel and we'll note down the readings. Now what I will do is, I will fill this tank for 20%. Now diesel level is 20%. What is the value here? Value here is 236. Now we'll fill tank for 40%. For 40%, our reading on second row is 324. Now increase fuel level to 60%. For 60%, reading on the second row is 414. Now we will increase level to 80%. Now we will note down reading. This reading is 508. Now we will increase fuel level to 100%. So we will take 595. Pause. Now let me continue with second part of the video. Difference between 0% level and 20% level. So when you subtract 144 from 236, difference is 92. When you subtract 236 from 324, difference is 88. When you subtract 324 from 414, difference is 90. Similarly, 508 minus 414, difference is 94. 595 minus 508, difference is 87. So we will see there is small change in this difference, and the difference is because there are fluctuations in the reading. As we have not done averaging, fluctuation is slightly larger. So when you do averaging, fluctuation will be very small. So what we will do is, for 20% rise, we will take constant difference of 90. So in our calibration, what we will do, whenever there is change in fuel level by 20%, we will consider a difference of 90, and accordingly we will modify our code so that on display we can show percentage diesel level. Pause. The calibrated data we have used in software. These differences we have used in the software, and this data is mapped to the percentage level of the fuel, and you will see level is now showing 99% or 100%. There is small error in the reading. This error we can minimize by averaging. Right now averaging is not done in the program, so if you do averaging, then this error can be minimized. So for full tank, reading showing is 99% or 100%. Pause. We have decreased fuel level in this tank, and it is slightly greater than 90%. There is marker of 900 here. That means level is slightly greater than 90%, and on display you will see reading around 92%. Pause. Level. Now level is showing around 82%, 82, so it is at 80%. So there is error of around 1 to 2% that we can minimize by averaging method. Level is now percent, something like this. Shit. Pause के लेगा. So level here is now close to 40%, and on display it is showing around 43%, 42, 43. Pause. So this fuel level in the tank is close to 20%. Now display showing 0 or 1% when tank is empty. Thank you, Manajika. 4. So I hope all of you understood this calibration procedure. So let me spend only 5 minutes. This topic will be over. See, there are number of different values possible for removing the offset. So I already discussed how to get proper value of XD1 and XD2. I have written another program. What I have done is I have written several combinations of values for removing the offset, like 0 picofarad offset removal, 5 picofarad, 10 picofarad, 15 picofarad. So what I have done is total offset we can remove is around 96 picofarad, and 96 divided by 31, it is close to 3 picofarad. So what I have done is in this code, I have used different numbers here, and those different numbers for offset removal, they are assigned to this XD1, XD2, XD1, XD2, something like this. And one variable I have created, like ST1 equal to 5. So when ST1 is 5, this value coming with LC ST1 equal to 5 will be used for for configuration of measurement one register. So to change the content of configuration register for channel 1, we can use the different values depending upon your requirement. So in this program, what is the advantage is I have loaded all possible combinations here, and one combination I am selecting with the help of this variable. So during calibration process, to remove the offset without having LCR meter, what you can do is you can write these multiple values, select ST1 value starting with 0, and then check what digital number you get on the display. If that digital number is too large, in the absence of, for example, diesel in the tank, in the absence of diesel, if that number is too large, that means you must subtract some offset capacitance. Then you go for next value of ST1. Next value of ST1 is 1. Then check with 2, 3, 4, and so on. So try to get minimum digital number on the display with appropriate value of this XD1 and XD2, because this XD1 and XD2 values are written to the register pointed with 0x08 address, that is config measurement 1 register. So that is done in here. Rest of the code is similar. Rest of the code is similar to our previous code of I2C protocol. After that, what I am doing is, after writing digits on the LCD display, we must divide this number by some divisor. You must select divisor in such a way that after dividing your entire result, you must get a number which is proportional to quantity under measurement. In our case, we must get a number which should change with respect to change in diesel level. So after several iterations, I found that my appropriate divisor is 10,000. After that, what I am doing is, this divided number I have already showed in the video on the second row. That divided number I have displayed on the second row, LCD CMD C0. After that, we are displaying level, and for level displays few calculations are done. And in the video I showed observation table. In the observation table you might have seen that for 0% level we have taken divided value equal to 144 decimal. This value we have taken. In our observation table there was percentage level in percentage, and we have here reading, and that reading was 24-bit result of FDC 1004, which is divided by 10,000. So data coming from FDC data divided by 10,000. And what we had here for 0% level, our number was here 144. And when intermediate result, I will not write here time being. And when our tank was full 100%, this number was around 594. So if you check the difference between 594 and 144, 594 minus 144, that difference is 450. Total difference is 450. And because of fluctuation, your result for 0% level may fall down to let's say 138, 140, something like this because of fluctuation. So this number for 0% may become 136, 140, etc. So in the program, what I have done is, divided by number. Let me show you where division is done. This data is equal to data divided by 10,000. And this divided by 10,000 number is saved in this level variable. So level variable contains 24-bit result divided by 10,000. Now when this level variable contains data at or below 144, it means that tank is empty. So what I am displaying? 0%. Another condition is else if this data is greater than 594, our maximum data is 594, and because of fluctuation it may exceed. Then what I am showing on the display? 100%. And for intermediate levels, what I have done is I use these calculations. Level is equal to level minus 144 upon 4.5. Why it is done? Let us understand this formula. Only few instructions are left. We will need an additional 4 or 5 minutes. Then we'll stop. So my equation is level is equal to level minus 144 upon 4.5. Why I have selected 4.5 divisor? Let us understand. When our tank is full, look at here. When our tank is full, what is data? 594. So when tank is full, this level variable will have 594 value. So 594 minus 144 divided by 4.5. So 594 minus 144 is 450. 450 divided by 4.5. What do we get here? 100. Now you might have understood that why I have taken this 4.5 divisor. So you must select divisor in such a way that for maximum difference, your result must be 100%. So what is our maximum difference? 450. So when you divide 450 by 4.5, you will get 100% level. So that is the purpose of this equation. That is level is equal to level minus 144 divided by 4.5. So when tank is full, level variable will have 594 value, and it will give us level equal to 100. So likewise, suppose this level variable has value of 350. What will happen? So in this case, 350 minus 144 divided by 4.5. So what we get is 350 minus 144 divided by 4.5. We get rounded off value is 46. So tank will have 46% fuel level. So like this. After that, this level variable will have only 2 digits because our 100% level we are indicating here. So level 0% is indicating here. So intermediate levels like 1% to 99%, they are indicated in this else part of the if else construct. So separate out 2 digits in the level variable with the help of conventional and modular division and add hexadecimal 30 in order to convert them into ASCII value. And after that, display these two digits on the display. And in the video already you have seen level indicated on the display. So this second file I have not uploaded on the Google Drive. After this session, I will upload it. First file I have already uploaded on the Google Drive. You can download and you can go through the code. So I will end today's session here. We'll go for question answer. Okay, two videos we have already uploaded on the Google Drive. You can download and see. The two videos that I played today for showing the calibration procedure, they are already uploaded on the Google Drive. In the circuit, how you connected the pull-up resistor. Pull-up resistor is already there in the FDC module. Let me show you. I need to play video once again. In this video, direct 24-bit FDC 5 wires are connected to input channel of FDC. In this video, you will see near the connector there are two resistors. I have directly soldered on this PC. In this video into decimal number. Now, in the absence of line is used for pull-up resistor, and this to input channel of FDC. So in this module, look at the pointer position. There are two pull-up resistors used for I2C bus. In peak development board, I have not given pull-up resistors on I2C pins, that is serial data and serial clock. So those pull-up resistors are connected here. Is there any possibility to have main program return value? Inside the main program, if you keep indefinite while loop, then there is no possibility of return value from the main program. And if you do that, your program may go somewhere else. So in all embedded product that we develop, especially where RTOS is not used, we always require never ending while loop in main program. What is the diameter for stainless steel pipe? It is around 20 millimeter. Diameter of outer pipe is 20 millimeter, and diameter of stainless steel rod is around 9 millimeter. You can purchase it from the hardware shop and purchase stainless steel material. Do not purchase ordinary material. It may corrode. Yes, you can use different diameter according to your requirement. The only thing is your calibration numbers will change if you make changes in the diameter, because when you make changes in the diameter, the capacitance value will change. While doing LCD program, it's showing build error. See, let me tell you important thing. Under source file, if you include multiple files here, there must be only one file included here under source file folder. If you include two files, then it will show error. So include only one file. Nishi Kumari, I hope your question is addressed. You might have included two files, two different files in your program. So keep only one file there and build your program. It will be successful. While doing any kind of simulation, if you come across any difficulty, you can share your difficulty on our personal WhatsApp numbers, maybe to Shubham sir or directly to me. Yeah, any other question? So all questions in chat box are over. I am going to close today's session here. So thank you so much for joining today's session. We'll meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. and tomorrow I will deliver session on use of ADC for interfacing temperature controller temperature sensor, and second one is uh, interrupt programming. See, same thing. I2C in I2C protocol, what we do is we transmit data serially. And when we transmit data serially, on the other end, you require device to convert that serial data into parallel data. Example is in FDC 1004, there is 16-bit data. In PIC microcontroller, all registers are 8-bit. So what is done? There is one serial shift register, and the serial shift register can shift data in as well as out. So both operations are possible there. So while reading data from the slave device, data is serially shifted in on-chip SSP SR register, that is serial shift register in SSP module. And after receiving all bits, that data is loaded in buffer register. So same thing, when you use I2C converter along with LCD display, from microcontroller, you transmit data serially to that module, and that module gives output data in 8-bit format to the LCD display. So same programming logic you can use for interfacing any kind of LCD with I2C protocol. In my all products, I always use void main void, and even if you write void main void and at the end of the main function if you write return, it will not result in any kind of error, but that statement will never be executed because I keep my program in never ending loop. How can I add? There is one question from Shivam. How can I add hex file any another place directly? I do not understand this question. Any another place? Do you mean to say in Proteus software? If it is Proteus software, then Mr. Shubham Momas already explained it, how to gauss the hex file into Proteus simulation. We can save hex file anywhere. We can copy hex file into pen drive. We can make use of that hex file anywhere for writing our data. In MP lab, still question is incomplete. I do not understand question. How can I add hex file any another place directly in MP lab? See, when you build your project, the outcome of your project is hex file. It is executable file. This executable file you cannot use in MPLAB XID or MPLAB. This hex file is executable file. It must be burned on PIC microcontroller with the help of programmer. That is the purpose of this file. So this file, if I open, I can show you hex file. Hex file you can directly open using Notepad application. Let me open the Notepad application. I have saved some hex file here. This is hex file of ADC. This is the hex file, you can see. Why this hex file? Because executable file contains only hexadecimal numbers. So this file we download in PIC microcontroller using programmer. So hex file is not used anywhere in MPLAB X IDE or MPLAB software. I hope Mr. Shivam, your question is addressed. Yes, there is a question from Professor Vishal Nimbalkar. In FDC 1004, we prefer differential inputs, so only two analog signals can be. Yes, you are right. And yesterday I also mentioned it. When you go for differential mode of operation, the difference capacitance is measured on channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3, channel 4. So we can perform only two analog measurements in differential mode. And in single-ended mode, we can perform 4 different measurements. And is the conversion one after another? It is up to you. If you are using 4 channels, so it is up to you whether to you perform conversions on channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. And if you want to do conversions on all 4 channels together, you select channel 1 first, do the conversion, read the data, then go to the next channel, do conversion, read the data. At a time, we can do conversion on only one channel. So with the help of I2C bus, access relevant registers in FDC 1004, configure them and select the channel and initiate the start conversion. Yes, all 4 channels we can use. You must modify the current program which I shared to you. With little modification, you can make this program work for 3 channels as well. This FDC 1004 IC is available online. It is not expensive, cost around 150 rupees. So those who want to build the practical project using this FDC 1004, I recommend them to buy it online. So with this IC, you can implement number of applications. Touch switch, you can go for fuel level measurement, water level measurement, you can go for moisture sensing measurement and so on. So number of operations are possible with this IC. So questions in chat box are over. So thank you. I am closing today's meeting here.